actually. So for our members that are participating here, the regional association, PNCFL, is a member of JNCL-NCLIS. However, Amanda touched on it, even though, and part of your state dues goes obviously to PNCFL, and part of that goes to JNCL-NCLIS. But Amanda, why is it so important for individual states, in addition to the regional association, to be a member?
It's about representation. It is about making sure that the voices of as many constituents are heard on these pieces. And actually, I feel like in states that are less densely populated, states that have fewer people, it's even more important to be involved in a national network. And so making sure that the individual state is represented as a member of a national network is truly what will allow you to have that connection to others who are doing the same types of things. It allows us as JNCL-NCLIS to also provide you with the tools that you need to go into your state house and to approach some of the things that might be popping up, like coding bills that we see across lots of the different states. We want to make sure that by pulling this network together, our network is only as strong as all of the pieces, the individual pieces. And the individual pieces for JNCL-NCLIS is not an individual member, because we don't have individual members, we have organizational members. So it's about making sure that your state as an organization is a member of our broader network and is able to then empower the teachers there and the administrators there to speak about language policy, both within your district, municipalities, and also your state board of ed, but then really connected to this idea of the congressional connections. Because remember, when we're in Washington meeting, even if it's online, it's about what happens when we come back, because the connections that you build there reflect in the way that they might offer to come and visit your program, that they may have a staffer who went to that school, that they may have it. You never know that these opportunities can turn on a second on any kind of connection. And even if your region is a member, it doesn't necessarily mean that those connections to your state will be as strong. You have a stronger opportunity to bring resources to your state if your state is represented.
That's a really good point. I mean, I have attended the language advocacy days over periods of time, but not consistently. I recently attended the virtual one, thanks to you, Amanda. And I have to admit, just me personally, I was attending sort of as a solo act and not necessarily on behalf of my school district, because I have to be real careful with not advocating as a public school official, but more as either an individual or a state association. Mm-hmm. But you know, Alaska is one of those states that has only one congressperson. That's Don Young, and
who is our champion for language nationally, and that's what's incredible, right?
Absolutely. And you wouldn't necessarily think or know that if you know anything about Don Young. He's kind of a quirky old man, but mm-hmm. I met with him one-on-one and had that exact conversation. And he has a very strong passion for indigenous languages and Alaska Native languages. And he even said to me, the next time I get up there and it's safe to travel, I'd like you to show me your new Yupik immersion program. So wonderful. It is those connections that are exactly what you're talking about. So actually, I just sort of referenced language advocacy days. What are those? Can you tell our members about that?
I would love to. And I know I have some people here who've had the opportunity to spend so much time with me at Language Advocacy Days. I see Michelle is here. I see so many people who I know are, old hands at this. So I apologize if I'm being redundant, but Language Advocacy Days through JNCL-NCLIS are just some of the most exciting days you'll ever find. It is your opportunity to raise your voice on Capitol Hill with your federal legislators. It is our opportunity to bring our advocates together across all of our states. And this year we had all 50 states represented for the first time. We had 284 people all online together, not only working together like this and networking, but also then having online meetings with Capitol Hill offices, with members of the Senate and members of the House. And really we were able to have so many meetings. This Language Advocacy Days starts with an opportunity to learn about what our legislative asks are going to be. What are the things that we are pushing for in this year, this Congress? And then from there, after kind of training everyone and giving everyone a chance, then we give you a chance to get to know your state team. You'll be working with the people who are there representing your state from all different businesses and organizations that are members of JNCL-NCLIS. And then you have an opportunity the next day to be on Capitol Hill. In this case, it was digital, but I hope that some of you who had the chance to do it realized just how, I mean, Brandon got to spend time with Don Young by himself for a half hour, which was incredible. We had a chance to really even get to be face to face with some of our members of Congress right here on Zoom. In this case, on GoToMeeting, but yes. And then after that, we bring it all back together. We talk about what the outcomes are, and I'm going to explain that a little bit more in a minute. And then we think about how we take that home. We have discussions about that. And we also talk about the different aspects of what JNCL members bring to the table. What are the issues that we're looking at, both during that event and beyond? And so it really starts to build this, it's a jumping off point. It's a springboard for the year. And I encourage you to join us next February for our next one as well. But I want to just go back to that outcomes piece, because the outcomes of important tools that help us get to the next space. It also helps, I think, and maybe some people here can say, I know how I felt for years representing New Jersey. Coming home afterwards, I felt like I had new energy. I had the ability to take that energy and move it into state and local issues and make sure that we were represented well. And so it's about both things. We came away from Language Advocacy Days this year with 25 members of our America's Languages Caucus. Now it's a bicameral caucus. It's not only the House, also the Senate. We have a bipartisan caucus. Representatives from Republican and Democrat representatives are in the caucus. We came away with commitments to sponsor bills that are going to make an impact. And over the last several years, those types of sponsorships led to what we were able to share yesterday, which is that the World Language Advancement and Readiness Grants are now available through the RFP that is online through the Department of Defense. So that's money that can go toward building programs. And the only way we do that is if we come together in this way. We use LAD as that launch pad, as that springboard for the congressional year.
That's great. And I was so excited to see that yesterday, because that was, I know, a huge piece of the most recent Language Advocacy Day. And, you know, I also think that those legislators in Congress, those senators, those Congress folks, we are their constituents. We vote them in, and they're used to dealing with high profile bigwigs, right? But that's not what educators are. And so when you have a group of teachers in your office talking to you about the importance of international education, multilingualism, bilingualism, world language education, they can't deny it, right? They know that it's important, and it's our job as teachers and educators to advocate for that, which I think I know is absolutely critical.
Absolutely. And I'll just say, Brandon, just one of the best lessons you can learn from LAD and from working with JNCL-NCLIS on Capitol Hill is that you really get to know that the people who are making decisions and making things happen in these congressional offices are often the staffers. They're often the people who are not the member themselves, but himself or herself, but really it is the staffers who are bringing that to their attention. And sometimes, and I bet all of you have stories like this, those staffers are people who have even stronger connections to you across your state, maybe even a former student, which we've seen happen many times. So it's an important opportunity.
Amanda, in the chat, and this is an absolutely critical point, travel for teachers is often very challenging. I mean, COVID set aside, just getting the funding and flying across the country. So, you know, even when it is safe to be back face to face, you know, JNCL should think about continuing that virtual option for states or individuals who just cannot travel.
I can guarantee you that is our goal.
Awesome.
That there were so many people who wrote to us with concern about how we were going to be able to pull this off to make it feel like it does when we're all in person in Washington. It is hard, and we did our very best to make sure that everyone felt like they could come together and feel a part of something bigger. And that's something that I always felt from JNCL-NCLIS is it's something bigger than myself. It's something bigger than my state. It's something bigger than everything, and it allows us to really pull together our strengths and make a difference. So yes, it's something I guarantee you we will continue to have, an online component.
Awesome, thank you. We did get started a little bit late in this session, so I'm going to give Amanda a few extra minutes here. But in the meantime, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Amanda, if you could pop those in the chat, And Amanda, so you touched on this a little bit, but what advice would you give for people to just start that giving them the strength and encouragement to say, I can do this. I can go back and I can talk to my principal or my superintendent or our school board or.
Yeah. I think the first thing you have to do is take stock of who we are as world language educators. World language educators are the global liaisons that our schools and our districts need. And I think for too long, that's been underrepresented, undervalued in our schools and in our nation. And so the first thing we need to do is become very aware of who we are. We are our school district's best link to the world, best link to global issues, best link to culture and identity and human connection. And I think that the moment that we start to take hold of that, the way that we teach starts to change and our advocacy can grow. I would ask everyone, this is what I ask everyone to do when they're starting to think about how they're going to advocate. Take a personal inventory. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is take a step back and think about the people that you know, all the different hats that you wear in your life, right? I wear the hat of an educator, of a parent, of a citizen of the United States, of a business owner. All of those different things that I am come to bear in my ability to advocate for what I'm doing. I must make sure that I'm applying all of those pieces of me to find the solutions to the challenges that we face as advocates. And that's the most important piece. Know your story, know the people you've met along your way, and make sure that you make those connections real when you meet with them. And what I mean by that is that it's important to tell your story. It's also important to know something about the people you're going to meet with, whomever they might be. Just to give you a quick example, I'm sure you all remember the foreign language assistance program. Sorry, it's 9:30. Wow. Foreign language assistance program, FLAP. Yes. So the FLAP grants were cut, sadly, but before they were cut, we tried really hard to save them. And the foreign language assistance programs, what they did was they tried to cut them. And I went to a friend of mine who I knew from high school, who I found out was working for a very, very conservative magazine. And I went and I met with him and I said, look, we're in this situation, but this is not a partisan issue. They should not be cutting this. This is bipartisan. We need it, national security. He wrote for the National Review. And he wrote an article called No Flap Over Flap that we were able to use. And Marty Abbott used to tell me all the time that she took that article in her hand to get into Republican offices, and it made a difference. And it was just because I knew this guy from high school, and you literally never know who you know and how having a conversation with someone, I hadn't seen him in years. I had a conversation with him over dinner, and it led to that article. And so I'm saying that you need to make sure that you raise your voice about things that matter to you wherever you are, with whomever you're talking to. And then once you know you're going to get into the room with someone, find out everything you can about that person. Ask for that picture because you never know how you can use that picture to do something else, and ask them for an opportunity to talk about other things. Just to give another quick example, if we have time, I know we're a little bit over time, but another quick example, just from a state perspective, I was asked in my state, New Jersey, a few years ago at the last minute to go and take a New Jersey Senate meeting about the possibility of passing the seal of biliteracy into law. It was December. We had until January to get this passed, or we were going to lose it again. I was asked to go down and meet with a senator. I did that. The week after, they called me back to meet with an attorney in the governor's office. At that time, Governor Chris Christie was governor of New Jersey. He was not interested in language education. There was no way. And I didn't think it was going to happen. So I found out who I was meeting with. I did some research on this person before I went down there and found out that he had gone to NYU. I went to NYU undergrad. And I said, I'll just tuck that in my back pocket just in case there's something I need to say to him. I walked into the room to meet with him. I sat down at the table, put down this portfolio that I carry that happens to have the NYU seal on it. He sat down next to me with the same exact one. And so it started the conversation. We talked about NYU. We talked about an international focus. We talked about study abroad. And we walked out of there talking about Washington Square Park and the Village. And the next week, Chris Christie signed the seal of biliteracy in New Jersey into law the same day he vetoed mandatory recess for children. And I'm not saying that it's because I had this connection with this guy, but I'm not saying it's not. The bottom line is you never know. You never know how something can turn on that little piece of information. So I'm saying take that personal inventory. think about who you are and all the different aspects of your life and have the conversations that can get you into different spaces.
That's a great point. And sometimes that, you know, that pressure and that competition can help us, right? So
Absolutely.
I have a similar experience with Alaska's one of now 8 states with no seal of biliteracy. And I happen to be, I don't mean this to sound snotty or anything, but I happen to have been just a friend of our commissioner of education. And I don't like to use roles as friendship to, you know, but I did say, you know, are you serious? You really want Alaska to be like the last state with no seal of biliteracy? I mean, come on. Even North Dakota has one. And I did that specifically because it was the commissioner of North Dakota that actually put me in touch with our commissioner here, ironically. Long story short, I've been having these conversations with him for about 3 years, and we are finally making headway, and we now have a task force, and we are making progress. So it is those personal connections, and it is those relationships, and it's all about networking, relationship building, and all of that. So excellent.
It's about knowing whatever you can find out to help you get to your next spot. And
Yep.
and honestly, it's not boasting or anything like that, Brandon. It's really about empowering our voices and making sure that what we know to be essential, we know that language learning is essential. We know that we must be a multilingual nation in order to be successful in this century and in this world. So we know that. So if we know that to be true, we have to act on it.
And Lisa put in the chat that it's really important to know your state legislators as well. And a lot of those, you know, career politicians, they start off as a PTA president,
That's
and
right.
then they become a school board member or an assembly member, and then they become a state senator or representative, and then they head to DC.
Well,
Or
yeah.
Yep.
No, and I hate to, again, a quick story really quickly. I mean, advocacy has been a part of my life for longer than I even realized, to be honest with you. It started when I was even back when I was little and I wanted to learn sign language to speak to my grandparents' friend's daughter. But what I'm thinking about here is when you talk about state legislators, I was sitting at an award ceremony for New Jersey TESOL years ago. They were giving an award to a state senator who had been supportive of the seal of biliteracy. He was sitting next to me at the table and he said, "So what's next? What needs to happen next, Amanda?" And I told him, well, New Jersey really doesn't have very many dual language immersion programs, and we're going to be left behind because of Delaware and because of New York. And I explained the whole thing. He got up to accept his award. And in front of this entire room of people, he said, "Well, I was just talking to Amanda. And she said that the next thing we need to do is work on some legislation for dual language immersion. So you can remember that I said this here, that I'm going to be your champion for that." And within the next year, we had a piece of legislation that he presented that helped us move things forward. Now, of course, it didn't pass because everything came crashing down, but it's the movement forward. It's having that ability. It's using those opportunities to move the ball forward. Advocacy is never a one-shot deal. Never, ever.
And it's something that it gets better in time or
That's
with
right.
time, just like wine,
Just
right?
like a fine wine, Brandon. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. First time it's super intimidating, and then it just becomes old hat. So I did open up for questions in the chat. I don't see very many coming through, and we are running a little bit over. So Amanda, this has been a huge pleasure to have you, and thank you so much for staying up so late on your time zone to be with us. I know that our region and our 6 states are definitely appreciative of you and your knowledge and your time and your passion. And thank you for all that you do, JNCL-NCLIS, for the profession. But also, Amanda, thank you to you for spending time with us and in this sort of informal setting.
Of course. And I invite all of you to please sign up for our newsletter at languagepolicy.org. And please stay involved. Feel free to reach out to me anytime, president@languagepolicy.org. Would love to hear from you. And I tell everyone this, please make sure to remember how important you are to our educational world, and empower yourselves with that knowledge, and with the knowledge that the only way that we reconnect to the world, especially after this pandemic, is if we are the leaders, if we as world language educators who understand culture and the world and identity are part of the solution. So thank you so much. Congratulations on a great conference.
Thank you, Amanda. And the chats are the chat comments are lots of thank yous to you. So thanks.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All righty. President Johnston, I'm going to turn it back over to you for the closing remarks. So thank you, folks, for letting me MC a second meeting today. It's been a pleasure. And
You
Lynn, you're
have
muted.
to share your screen with me.
Oh,
Okay, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for your participation. Again, it was all volunteers, from the organizers down to the keynotes, to the presenters. Everybody volunteered their time this weekend to get this off the ground, and I appreciate it. And we could use your feedback. We do want to keep this hopefully going every year in one form or another. So I did drop a form in there for you to fill out, and let us know how we can improve. And also, if we did do it next year, would you prefer virtual, hybrid, a location? So if you would fill that out for us, that would be great. And I'm going to do the raffle now. I think that's the only other thing. I just wanted to do a couple of quick reminders about Lil, if you're interested in being a Lil candidate. Actually, I'll do a reminder about Flipgrid too. We're hoping to send 7 people from our area. So 1 from each state and 1 from PNCFL. Also, if you haven't connected on Flipgrid, I'm going to leave that open a little bit because I think we were so busy today that not everybody got to connect with that. Again, think about being an emerging leader for our district or a pause presenter. And I wanted to remind you about Montana's conference on April 17th. That's $10 for PNCFL members. And yep, that's about it. Okay, and then the evaluation and our raffle. Here we go. Lisa, is Lisa here? Because I could use Lisa. So I have the 240 names of everybody registered on here. And the first prize is an ebook from ACFL. ACFL is donating an ebook, and the winner of the ebook is going to be dun, 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 dun. Okay, congratulations, Wendy, on the ACFL ebook. All right, we have 3. So we asked each of the states to donate a basket or gift cards. Some did gift cards, some did baskets, and I did 3 last night, and I have 3 today. I kind of need Lisa because I can't remember which 3 states I did last night. I think I did Washington and something else.
Lynn, Lisa's having some internet problems in Montana. I think she's here, but I just think that she's having a hard time participating.
Okay, so I can't remember which state, but the winner of one of the state baskets, I'm pretty sure yesterday I did Washington, Alaska.
I think we have Alaska yet to give away.
Okay.
Well, we had Idaho, Oregon, and Washington.
Okay. We had Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. Okay, so we have Montana, Wyoming, and Alaska.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So this is going to be a gift basket from Alaska. And the winner is going to be
Deidre won yesterday, by the way.
She did?
Yep.
Is she here? Should we is she
is
here?
Not here.
Should we respin that? Let's respin.
I believe that would be, yeah.
I thought I removed the ones from yesterday, but evidently I did not. Okay, so oops. So this is for the Alaska gift basket, and this goes to okay, Alaska. Okay, our next gift basket, I will remove Claudia, will be a gift basket from Montana. Montana's gift basket will go to and that was from Wyoming. Okay, and the last gift basket goes to, wait, I forgot which state this is. Idaho.
Wasn't there one from AATS?
Yeah, that's coming too. Okay, so okay. One more. I wrote down Alaska, Wyoming.
Lynn, it's Wyoming.
Okay, Wyoming. Thank you. I'm trying to keep track and write this down and not doing very well. Okay, from Wyoming, here we go. The gift basket or card from Wyoming. All right, and now I believe AATSP has given a gift card. I believe it's a $50 gift card, I believe. And so the winner of the gift card from AATSP is going to be okay. All right. And I believe that's it. The gift baskets, the card, and the AATSP. So that's all I got. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Any last comments or anything else anybody would like to add?
Can I just announce the Goose Chase, pretty please?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I totally forgot. I'm going to stop my screen share here.
Thank
yeah,
you.
Go ahead.
I have to show you guys this. If I will figure out a way to publish these, but I'd like to congratulate the Go Wyoming team with 6,700 points, closely followed by Marmy Moran's group of 6,600, and tied also with CC Radius. So if you were in any of these teams, please send me your name. I'm going to find a way, because the activity feeds are so impressive to see everyone sharing their housemates, the office home version. And then we have a cat, a bilingual cat, who is sharing a tongue twister. So, and there's so many wonderful things. So I will try and find a way to get those out. But Wyoming, his group is in first place. Thank you so much for letting us announce that.
Yay.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And again, please give us some feedback on how we can make this better next year. And I, again, thank everybody for participating and all your hard work.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. What's left of it.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. This was